I remember staring at the subject line. Meeting request. Urgent. HR plus leadership. 2 p.m. No context. No explanation. I read it 3 times, sitting at my desk, trying to figure out what I'd missed. A project update, a restructure. But the way it was worded, something felt off. The room was quiet. Everyone around me was typing, talking, living their normal Tuesday. And I just sat there, my hand hovering over the mouse, feeling my stomach drop for reasons I couldn't name yet. I didn't know it then, but in 4 hours, I'd be escorted out of the building I'd worked in for 3 years. And 6 months later, I still wouldn't have all the answers. But I'd have enough. I worked in operations for a mid-sized consulting firm, about 200 employees. The kind of place where leadership knew your name, but not much else about you. Nothing glamorous, decent pay, good benefits, stable. The work itself was fine. We managed client accounts, coordinated projects, kept things running. It wasn't the kind of job you dreamed about as a kid, but it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be safe. I'd been there 3 years, longer than most people in my department. I knew the systems, I knew the clients, I had a rhythm. There was one colleague I worked closely with. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus had been at the company for 5 years. He was senior to me technically, but we operated more like peers. We split client accounts, covered for each other during leave, collaborated on pitches. We weren't friends, didn't grab drinks after work or text on weekends, but we weren't rivals either. He was the kind of person who remembered details, asked how your weekend was, and actually listened. Sent follow-up emails that were thorough and clear. Leadership liked him. Clients liked him. I liked him. At least, I thought I did. Looking back now, I realize I never really knew Marcus. I knew his work persona, the version of him that showed up to meetings prepared and left at 5:30 p.m. with a polite nod. But I didn't know what he wanted, what he was willing to do to get it. And that was my mistake. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't happen in one moment. It's a series of small things you don't notice until it's too late. About 3 months before I was fired, I started working on a major client account, retail company, big budget, high visibility. It was the kind of project that could move your career forward if you did it right. I'd been building the strategy for weeks. Research, competitive analysis, pricing models. I was excited about it. Probably talked about it too much in team meetings. Marcus was assigned to support me. He was helpful, asked good questions, took notes. I remember one afternoon he stopped by my desk. "Hey, can I borrow your laptop for a sec? Mine's doing an update and I need to send something to a client real quick." I didn't hesitate. "Yeah, sure." I was heading into a meeting anyway. Left it unlocked on my desk, figured he'd be done by the time I got back. When I returned 20 minutes later, the laptop was back where I'd left it. Marcus was at his own desk, typing away. "Thanks," he called over. "No problem." I didn't think about it again. There were other moments too. Small things. A week later, I sent Marcus a draft of the strategy doc for feedback. He replied with thoughtful notes, said it was solid work, suggested a few tweaks. I made the changes, sent the updated version to our manager. 2 days later, in a leadership meeting I wasn't invited to, Marcus presented a version of that strategy. I found out from a coworker. "Hey, great work on the retail pitch. Heard Marcus crushed it in the exec meeting." I smiled, nodded, didn't say anything. Because what was I supposed to say? Marcus and I worked together. Maybe he just communicated ideas we'd both developed. Maybe leadership didn't realize I'd done most of the groundwork. It didn't feel good, but I told myself it wasn't personal. I was wrong. The meeting was in a small conference room on the 3rd floor, the kind with glass walls and blinds that were always closed when something serious was happening. The blinds were closed. HR was there, a woman named Janet I'd only spoken to during onboarding, my direct manager, Karen, and someone from legal I'd seen once before, maybe twice, a man in his 50s with a yellow notepad. No one smiled when I walked in. Karen gestured to a chair. "Please sit." I sat. Janet folded her hands on the table. "Thank you for coming in. We need to discuss a serious matter that's been brought to our attention."
My heart was already racing. Okay? Karen slid a printed email across the table. Do you recognize this? I picked it up. It was correspondence with a client, the retail client. My name was in the from field. The subject line read, SUB, pricing strategy, confidential. I started reading. The tone was wrong immediately. Casual, dismissive. There were details in the body of the email that should never have been shared externally. Internal pricing structures, competitor intelligence we'd gathered under NDA, margin calculations. And at the bottom, a line that made my stomach turn. Between you and me, we're probably overcharging you, but if you're willing to pay it, we're not going to stop you. I read it twice, then a third time. I didn't write this. Silence. I'm serious. I have never seen this email before in my life. Janet glanced at her notes. The email was sent from your account 2 weeks ago, last Tuesday at 3:47 p.m. The client forwarded it to leadership yesterday with a formal complaint. They're threatening to terminate the contract. I felt my hands go cold. I didn't do this. I don't know what this is. Karen leaned forward slightly, her voice careful. The email was sent from your workstation. The metadata confirms your login credentials. IT has verified it. Then someone used my account. Someone had access. The legal rep spoke for the first time. His voice was flat. Do you share your login credentials with anyone? No. Do you leave your computer unlocked? I hesitated. Sometimes, if I'm just stepping away for a minute. So it's possible someone could have accessed your account. Yes, but I didn't send that email. He wrote something down. Janet looked at me with an expression that might have been sympathy or pity. I couldn't tell. We take client relationships very seriously. This email represents a significant breach of trust and confidentiality. Whether it was intentional or the result of negligence, the outcome is the same. I felt the room closing in. I didn't do this. Karen wouldn't meet my eyes. I'm sorry, the decision's been made. We're terminating your employment, effective immediately. The words didn't land at first. They just sort of hovered there. You're firing me? Yes. For something I didn't do? The evidence indicates otherwise. I looked at each of them, waiting for someone to ask another question, to investigate, to care. But no one did.
Janet slid a folder across the table. This is your severance agreement. You'll receive 2 weeks' pay. We'll need you to sign an NDA and a non-disparagement clause. My hands were shaking as I opened it. What if I don't sign? The legal rep didn't look up. Then you forfeit the severance. I sat there, staring at the paper, trying to think of what to do, what to say. But there was nothing. They'd already decided. An HR assistant I didn't know walked me back to my desk. People were staring, pretending not to, but I could feel it. Word travels fast in offices. I grabbed my bag, a notebook, a photo frame my sister gave me. I left the coffee mug, the plant someone had gifted me for my work anniversary. I didn't want to take anything that would make me cry. Marcus wasn't at his desk. I remember noticing that. The chair was pushed in. The monitor was off. He wasn't there. No one said goodbye. No one asked what happened. A few people looked up as I passed, then quickly looked back down at their screens. I handed over my badge at the front desk. The security guy who always joked with me in the mornings took it without a word. And then I was outside. It was 3:15 in the afternoon. The sun was out. People were walking by with coffee. Someone was laughing on a phone call. The world hadn't stopped. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 30 minutes. I kept thinking someone was going to call.
Someone was going to realize this was a mistake. My phone didn't ring. I didn't tell anyone at first. Not my family, not my friends. I couldn't find the words. How do you explain that you were fired for something you didn't do? That you were accused, judged, and discarded in the span of 15 minutes? It sounds like you're lying or making excuses. So I just said I was between jobs, that I was exploring options. I spent the first few days in a fog, sleeping too much, staring at my phone, refreshing my email like someone was going to send an apology. No one did. I felt ashamed, like I'd done something wrong even though I knew I hadn't. That's what losing your job does. It makes you doubt yourself. By the end of the first week, the shock started to wear off, and the anger set in. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind that sits in your chest and doesn't leave. I started going through everything. Old emails, calendar entries, Slack messages. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew something didn't add up. And that's when I started to see it. The laptop. That was the first thing. 2 weeks before the email was supposedly sent, Marcus had borrowed my laptop, said his was updating. I'd left it unlocked, gone to a meeting. He had access. Not just access, time, privacy, opportunity. I pulled up my sent folder, searched for the email to the client. It wasn't there. I checked my trash, my archive, my drafts. Nothing. If I'd sent it, there'd be a record. Even if I'd deleted it, there'd be a trace. But there wasn't. Which meant someone had sent it from my account and then wiped it from my mailbox. That's not something you do by accident. I kept digging. 3 days before I was fired, Marcus was promoted. I found the announcement buried in a company-wide email I'd ignored. Congratulations to Marcus Brennan on his promotion to Senior Account Manager. He'd taken over the retail client account, the one I'd been managing.
The one the email had been sent to. The same client that was now threatening to leave. Except they didn't leave. I checked the company LinkedIn. 2 weeks after I was gone, there was a post celebrating the renewal of the retail contract. Record engagement. Expanded scope. Marcus was tagged in the photo, shaking hands with the client. Smiling. I sat there staring at the screen, my hands cold. He didn't just set me up. He benefited from it. I went back further, months. I started piecing together meetings I hadn't been invited to, strategy documents I'd drafted that were later presented by Marcus, ideas I'd shared in team meetings that showed up in his client pitches weeks later. There was a pattern. He'd been building his case, slowly, carefully, positioning himself as the reliable one, the one leadership could trust, and positioning me as... what? Careless? Unprofessional? I'd never seen it, because I'd never thought to look. I reached out to a former coworker, someone I'd been friendly with, sent a casual message asking how things were going. She responded a day later. Hey, things are good. Busy. Honestly, it's been weird since you left. A lot of changes. I asked what she meant. Just, leadership's been restructuring. Marcus has been taking on a lot more. I think they're grooming him for a director role. I typed carefully. Did anyone ever mention why I was let go? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Not officially, but there were rumors. Something about a client complaint. People said you'd sent an inappropriate email. My chest tightened. Did anyone question it? I mean, not really. It came from HR. People just assumed it was true. I thanked her, closed the laptop. That's how it works. You don't need proof, you just need a story. And Marcus had given them one. I thought about fighting it. I called an employment lawyer, explained the situation, the borrowed laptop, the timing, the promotion. He listened, asked a few questions. Do you have any direct evidence that he sent the email? No.
Any witnesses? Anyone who saw him use your computer? No, I was in a meeting. And the email exists. The metadata shows your login. IT confirmed it. Yes. He was quiet for a moment. I'll be honest with you, this is a tough case. Circumstantial evidence and suspicion aren't enough. You'd need proof, a confession, digital forensics that shows someone else accessed your account. Without that, it's your word against the record. So I just let it go? I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's going to be expensive, time-consuming, and there's no guarantee you'll win. Even if you do, the best outcome is probably a settlement, and that comes with an NDA. You won't be able to talk about what happened. I felt the fight drain out of me. How much would it cost? Retainer starts at $5,000, could go higher depending on how long it drags out. I didn't have $5,000. I thanked him, hung up, sat in my apartment staring at the wall. This was it. Marcus had won. Not because he was smarter, not because he was better, because he'd been willing to do something I never would have thought to do, and no one was going to stop him. I found another job eventually. Took 4 months. Smaller company.
Less pay. I didn't mention the firing and interviews, just said I was looking for new opportunities. No one dug deeper. But the job wasn't the hard part. The hard part was everything else. I don't trust people the way I used to. I don't share ideas before they're documented. I don't leave my laptop unlocked. And I don't assume that because someone is polite, they're on my side. I watch for the small things now. The questions that feel a little too specific. The conversations that happen just outside my earshot. I've become the kind of person I never wanted to be. Guarded, careful, suspicious. People ask me sometimes why I'm so private, why I don't open up. I just smile and say I'm an introvert. What I don't say is this. I learned that the people who destroy you aren't the ones who hate you. They're the ones who smile, who borrow your laptop, who say great work and then take credit when you're not in the room. They're the ones you never see coming. I don't know if Marcus thinks about what he did, if he feels guilty, if he justifies it to himself. I'll never know, because I never got to confront him, never got to ask why. And maybe that's the worst part. Not the firing, not the injustice, but the silence. The fact that someone can destroy your reputation, your livelihood, your sense of safety, and never have to answer for it. 6 months after I was fired, I saw Marcus on LinkedIn. He'd been promoted again, Director of Client Services. There was a photo of him at a company event, holding a glass of champagne, smiling. The caption read, "Grateful for this team and the trust they've placed in me." I stared at it for a long time. Then I closed the app. I don't look him up anymore. I don't think about what I'd say if I ever saw him again. Because the truth is, there's nothing to say. He got what he wanted, and I got a lesson I didn't ask for. I'm okay now. I have a job, I pay my bills, I've moved on. But I'm not the same, and I never will be. Because the worst part wasn't being set up. It was realizing how easy it was and how little anyone cared.